Alright, so Logic released his new album, Young Sinatra 4, September 28th. It has 14 songs and it runs for 1 hour and 17 minutes. Album cover, we see the traditional mugshot photo that he's used throughout the Sinatra series. And this one is basically him today. You see he's lost his hair since then, and he's a more mature version of Logic. So the album cover art is pretty straightforward. But anyways, moving on, singles, we have track 2, Everybody Dies. We have track 3, The Return. And we have track 5, One Day, featuring Ryan Tedder. Standouts for this album, we have Thank You, featuring Lucy Rose and Rat Pack. On this record, Logic thanks his fans, which are known as the Rat Pack, and even includes voicemails from them. This was something he previously done on the 2012 record Worldwide. Logic also announces this is the end of the Young Sinatra series, but not the end of his projects. And I was reading online that he has a whole bunch of projects already done. Like Jaden Smith said, he showed him 7 completed albums on his phone, which is crazy, and it shows the dedication and work ethic that he has, which I thought was impressive. And then Everybody Dies. Logic wants everyone to live life to the fullest, and he also addresses his come up and gets nostalgic through the use of "You are watching a master at work," which is something he's used throughout other projects. He sampled it on previous projects. And he also says, "You are watching a master at work. Yeah, this what you all been waiting for, ain't it? Rap game on me. I've been waiting for the payment. All these little rappers come and go. Wonder where they went. 10 years and running. We came up from the basement. Grew up broke as fuck. Rich folks was adjacent. Maryland. Staring out the window for motivation. I remember little Bobby, little B, man. I wish that I could be a dog in a rich family. Oh, how nice that shit. Oh, how nice would that shit be? My life a catastrophe. Now my shit a masterpiece. No limit like Master P. Now I'm the master. See, that's the way it has to be. My life is a movie. I'm so glad God casted me. And I'm not top 10, more like top 3. I am not 2 because nobody could top me." So in this entire verse, he speaks to wanting to be rich and successful growing up, and now that he's attained it, but during that time growing up, it seemed something that was so far away, even though at a point it was so close to home. As he says, rich folks adjacent, which means that there is rich people, probably near where he lived, but he didn't see himself getting to that point at that time, but he finally did. And he says he wished that he could be a dog in a rich family because, dogs in rich families usually get well taken care of, as opposed to somebody that grows up in poverty. They have to go through certain things. But he fortunately he turned it around, which was impressive. Which, as he says, my life a catastrophe, now my shit a masterpiece. So his life went from bad to good. Now, and he says he has no limit like Master P, in homage to Master P, creator of No Limit Records. Now I'm the master, see? And that right there, he's speaking to him being a master of his pen. And he says, see, that's the way it has to be. My life is a movie. Going from rags to riches would be something that would be written in the movie. And he says he's glad God chose him to be in this situation. And he's saying that he doesn't consider himself a top 10 MC, not a top 3, and he's not top 2. So he's saying he's the number 1 MC in his eyes because he feels that no one can touch his pen game. But anyways, moving on, we have The Return. This record marks the return of the Young Sinatra persona. Logic also uses some tags that draw back to his earlier work. For example, he says, like the pussy, don't push me. I ain't no killer, but you know the rest. Usually he'll say, like the pussy, don't push me. I ain't no killer, but don't push me. And then he says, like, God damn, I'm the motherfucking man. And if you've listened to his earlier work, these taglines would be very familiar to you. And then we have track 4, The Glorious Five. At first, when I first listened to it, I understand why he named it The Glorious Five, but as I listened to it a couple of more times, I noticed throughout the song he kept changing up his rap flows, and that speaks to his different personas. You have Logic, you have Young Sinatra, you have Bobby Tarantino, you have Sir Robert Bryson Hall II, and you have Bobby Boy. So those are his 5 personas that he uses in terms of his rapping style and ability, which is pretty interesting because each of those gives you a different side to him and shows the versatility he has as an artist. And on his record, he addresses his absentee father and how it made him who he is today. And who Logic is today is someone he wants his child to look up to. We have track 5, One Day, featuring Ryan Tedder. Logic realizes his dreams have come true and he no longer has to wait for them to materialize. And then we have track 6, Wu-Tang Forever, featuring Wu-Tang. Now this record right here, this was amazing because Drake, he had a record called, I think it was Wu-Tang Forever, but Wu-Tang wasn't on it. But in this case, Logic was able to get every member of the group except for old Dirty Bastard, who passed away, to be on it. So I thought that was cool. And basically each artist trades a variety of different bars and whatnot. So it's a great song. But Logic says, coming through like Killer B. Ever since I heard Enter the 36, Killer B is RZA's nickname. So he says, coming through like Killer B. Ever since I heard Enter the 36 in '93. Enter the 36 Chambers was one of Wu-Tang Clan's albums. You cannot defeat my Wu-Tang style. I leave them all dismembered. Fuck a mumble rap. That shit won't never be remembered. Which is true. Mumble rap is, for me, I see mumble rap as just a period in time, much how you had crunk music or crump rap like in the early 2000s. That was the trend at a time, and then that eventually passed. But he says, who you know assembled a clan like Voltron? The one and only Logic, the God, the Don, I'm gone. So in Logic's verse, he shows homage, I should say he pays homage to Wu-Tang throughout his entire verse. And he's kind of braggadocious when he says, who you know can assemble the clan like Voltron. Because I'm pretty sure other artists have probably tried to get all of Wu-Tang on a feature with them, but maybe it probably didn't happen. But I thought this was pretty cool because Logic has shown himself as a student of the game, and he's shown that Wu-Tang is one of his favorite groups growing up. But anyways, moving on, we have a verse from Raekwon. He says, the kitchen is my palace. Get your dance on while we just levitate with trees. Get your branch on. I know to wild out. Put the cams on, Joel's down. The sets did. So those first few lines are pretty interesting. He says, get your dance on while we just levitate with trees. While we get high off of the weed. Get your branch on. I know to wild out. Wild out. I think he's speaking to Nick Cannon's show, or maybe he's speaking to he knows how to go off on the beat. Put the cams on, Joel's down. The sets did. That's a line paying homage to the group Dipset. Cams, which is Cameron. Joel Santana. The sets did. Dipset. My gyms got grams on. So right there, I thought that that bar from him was pretty cool. He kicked off something while also big up in another group from New York, which is pretty cool. Then we have a verse from RZA. He says, academically speaking, rap vocabulary is weakening. And he's speaking to today's era of ABC rap. I felt it coming like the weekend when these Star Boys start tweaking. He's calling the new artist Star Boys. That's funny. And Star Boy is also one of the Weeknd's songs, I do believe. And then he says sporadic pill popping. He's speaking to the pill popping epidemic, which is prevalent in the newer rappers' generation, of OxyContin, ill-guiding, sexual intercourse makes shorty wop feel rotten. The tapestry of microphone mastery has been refuted, diluted. So he's basically saying that the artistry of MCing has been diluted by the current crop of artists who basically just rinse and recycle the same lines and whatnot, and the same mannerisms as the person that came before them, which I can agree with him, because a lot of the artists, they sound the same, they look the same, talk the same, and they all rap about the same stuff. A few of them differentiate themselves, but overall it's all like just one engine that just keeps on going. And then he says, broken down to a catastrophe, but cats still get good. Trophy hit, y'all with their okie doke. Burt Reynolds, Bandit, goddamn it, where the fuck is Smokey the Bear when you need one? So basically he's saying, where's the person that's, that should be here to, to stand up for EMC and when you need them there? Because basically a lot of the older rappers feel that this generation is ruining hip hop. They're watering down MCing, and some of them see the artists making a mockery of hip hop, because you have some of these artists that don't even study the game itself. They're just here to make a quick buck, and then that's it. But anyways, moving on, he says, or should I say, Method Man says, this new school ain't really got rules and lacks the principles. So yeah, Method Man feels the type of way too. You got more clowns than the Motown. They putting critical the gun. Smokey Robinson, you need a miracle. Go back, homie. Back when rappers used to be lyrical. So basically he wants rap to go back to the times of lyrics being something that the artist stood on rather than gimmicks and whatnot. He says, when 9 out of 10 of his fans used to be criminal, the stats, homie, all these killers using subliminals. Y'all don't even smile in your pictures. You dudes is miserable. Which is true. A lot of these rappers look drugged out, which a lot of them are, and they look miserable because a lot of them, they get in this game looking for a quick buck, and then the lifestyle hits them, and then they turn to drugs to cope with whatever problems that they're dealing with. And a lot of them don't be having smiles on their face. They be looking depressed and drugged out and stressed out, which is crazy. But it speaks to, some of the things that they go through, some of the things we see on the surface, and some of the things we don't know about. So that's probably why they be looking like that in those photos that he's speaking about. So already right there, you see from these songs that is very lyric and bar heavy. And if you're a fan of lyrics and bars, then this project is definitely going to be for you. But anyways, moving on, we have the self-titled Young Sinatra 4. Logic samples Nas' Life's a Bitch, which is something he's done throughout the Young Sinatra series. And he pays tribute to Mac Miller, who passed recently. He says, black and white like Bob Marley. Yeah, like Bob Marley. These racist motherfuckers hate that last line. So basically he's saying that even though some people might have not liked Bob Marley, he was biracial, just as Logic was, and some people don't like Logic because even though he's half black, for people who just, pay attention to what's on the surface, they just see a white guy, and they can't relate to some of the things he speaks to in his music about growing up, being both African and Caucasian. He says, they say they want the old Logic, the one that flowed like a faucet. I'm still the same me. They just don't believe it, like they agnostic. If I spit over the boom bap, then they perceive it as nostalgic, which is true. That speaks to the newer generation and their, them not wanting to go back and do their homework to what came before them. They only focus on the here and now. And he says, but the truth is my subject matter has been the same, and my production selection is still flame, which is true. His production has been great. Shout out to Six, who's been heavy in his production, and he's also been partnered with No ID. He says, but they love you on the come up because you ain't tainted by fame, and you steal their little secret. That's the type of bullshit that they frequent. From 19 to 2019, been murdering this shit for a decade. That's true. When you first start coming out in the game, people, they ride your wave, and then as you gain more and more success, people start to, latch on to the next big thing, and they don't appreciate you like they once did. He says, the legends above me love me like the RZA, like Nas, like Jay, because I mastered the flow from back in the day. Respected by my peers from Drizzy to Cole to Kenny. Kenny is Kendrick Lamar. Not a soul on earth would love me if I weren't me. No matter what year I'm in, I'm current, see? I thought that was a dope line. No matter what year I'm in, I'm current. So no matter what era he came up in, his music would fit within that time. And also, I'm currency. I'm current now. Currency. I'm money. So I thought that was pretty cool. And then he says, people that have me, yeah, they power is so immense. But people without me make no sense. And I thought that was pretty cool. He says, people that have me, yeah, they powers are immense. So people who are in his presence, or should I say who benefit from them, do so in a large quantity. But he's saying, but people without me make no sense. But the rap game but the rap game without him makes no sense. So that entire line was pretty catchy. A lot of double entendres in that. And then he says, God damn, the world revolve around me. The law evolve around me. The world revolve around me. I think that's speaking to his Caucasian side, because the Caucasians, they rule the world, and the law evolve around me. The law evolves around me. That's probably speaking to his black side, to how certain laws are made, for certain races in particular. So that entire song is, I thought was very dope. A lot of double meanings in that one song. And then we have track 12, Legacy. Logic asks himself how he wants to be remembered. He asks himself, does he want to be remembered for his riches or for being there for his family? And that's something a lot of people have to ask themselves. How do they want to be remembered? For me, I would rather choose the latter. Being there for my family. Riches is cool, but being there for those that matter is the most important thing. Money comes and goes, while, family, is you only get one family. You can always get money. And then we have track 13, Iconic, featuring Jaden Smith. He says, everybody know that Bobby will body anybody like Gotti did Gambino. And Bobby is one of his personas. will body anybody like Gotti did Gambino. John Gotti went at the Gambino family. From Maryland to Reno, we know Tarantino a killer. Tarantino is another one of his personas. But the Young Sinatra, that's another persona. Got you by the neck and the spirit. The second they hear it, they fear it. As soon as they get near it, everybody talk about my race on socials. Socials make the boy want to go postal. Postal. Since I went triple platinum, I only identify as bi-coastal. So basically, he's saying he's done talking about being biracial, or should I say, limiting him talking about biracial. He's more focused upon, his success and moving on. And then he says, I don't live life like most do, like most. Never did the shit I was supposed to. Not a lot of shit you could say about me. Yeah, my hairline faded, but my bank account will roast you. So that speaks to what I was talking about on the cover, how it shows his most up-to-date look, how he's lost the curly hair that he had early on when he first came in the game. But he's saying that don't matter because his bank account makes up for that. Then he says, sweeping these rappers up like it's a chore. Who want more? I'll leave anybody 2 times 4. I'll leave anybody 8, which basically he's saying he'd kill anybody on the track. Dropping pounds in London like I lost weight. Dropping pounds. Pounds is the form of currency used in the UK and in London, and it also is in reference to pounds, like the weight. So that was a double meaning. My mind state is like a fright when I rhyme. Check the state of mind. Yeah, my train of thought is never off the track. Everybody's selfish. Nobody want to give a helping hand to the next man. Well, fuck you then. Fuck your ethnicity. We all won. Because when my last album dropped, we all won. Yeah, that shit went number 1. So everybody won. I said, yeah, that shit went number 1. So everybody won. And that's a double meaning too. He's saying when his last album, which was titled Everybody, dropped, everybody won. So everybody won, and then everybody that was involved in the album won as well. Or should I say, everybody that the album was made to benefit won too. So a lot of double meanings throughout all of his songs. So as you can see from all of these records, the album is very has a lot of double meaning, a lot of lyrical bars, a lot of double entendres. So if you're a real lyric head, then this album is definitely for you. But anyways, moving on. Sleepers, we have 100 Miles and Running featuring John Lindell and Wale. We have Ordinary Day featuring Haley Steinfeld. We have Street Dreams 2. We have The Adventures of Stony Bob featuring Kajo and Sladro. Stony Bob is, I'm assuming, another persona of Logic, but him in a altered mind state. Obviously, probably him off the weed. And then we have Last Call. My personal favorites are Everybody Dies, The Return, The Glorious 5, Wu-Tang Forever, Young Sinatra 4, Legacy, and Iconic. My overall conclusion, I thought this was an amazing album and a great ending to the Young Sinatra series. It touches upon a variety of subjects such as legacy, hard work, hip-hop, and family, and I gave it a perfect score of 14 out of 14. There was no skips for me, and this is great. I've been following Logic for a while. I think the first song I heard by him was called Tic Tac Toe, and that was way before he was mainstream. And I went back and listened to all his previous bodies of work, starting with Young, Broken, Infamous, and to see his growth since then is amazing. So shouts out to him. But anyways, if you're a fan of Logic, and even if you're not, be sure to pick up this album. If you enjoyed this review, be sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.